This is day 694 of the Arukh HaShulchan Yomi. If you'd like to sponsor our coming shir more Arukh Yomi, please come me directly. It'd be very greatly appreciated. Today we're doing Siman Tov Lam Gimel, Sif Vav to Sif Yud Daled. It's a partial blackout in the hotel where I am, so I can't get on the internet from my computer, so I'm recording from my phone because that can get on the internet independent of my computer, and I can be able to upload it to YouTube before Yom Tov begins. It's Hashem. Okay, so Vav, because I've been a Beis Yosef. The middle of a chutz is not required b'dika. Shem haya sham chametz, where there be chametz there ha'arvim, v'shari ofos, the ravens and other birds, hamatzim sham who were prevalent there, yochlu would have eaten it. That is talking about where you have a suffix if there's chametz there. So if you have definitely chametz there, you can't rely on the birds. The Ramah writes about this. Avoid the have to throw chametz in a place where there are birds prevalent. So you don't have to eradicate chametz there. Feel chametz vadai. And there's definitely chametz in location until after the time of the prohibition. So those who seem to resolve the apparent contradiction, here it's about your own chatzar, and it's about to a street and a chatzar which is hefker. If you should turn to those who answer the vade kodim zman bdika, certainly before the time bdika comes, we rely even for the having chametz that the birds will eat it. I mean, if you see bdika at the time bdika chametz, you have to check. Can't rely on that which the birds will eat it. The something the maybe birds will eat it will not exempt you from vade chiyuv. They're definitely chiyuv bdika. It says Chok Yaakov, also Avram holds this way, Lavush, as the Rabbi explains. Those are things between the 9th and 14th, to us, ain't some chiyuv mashichu. We're not relying on the fact that they're going to eat it. L'kodim Yudal, when you still come to every 4 Yudal, where we assume that by that time the birds already eaten it. That's some Korchaim. I think the first answer, I think the first answer is the primary answer. That the question is whether it is before or after the bdika. The Sharei Mashal Gemara, that which is the Gemara ain't something like that a questionable circumstance cannot remove it from a definite obligation. Zer b'shusa, that's in your Rishus Mikor, Mishuk Chayav Livdok, place you're responsible to check. In such cases, I feel even several days before Pesach, if there's just an assumption of chametz there, that's sufficient. You still have to check in to eradicate. But later on, it's Simon writes explicitly as follows: before the time of the prohibition, you can toss it into a place where the ravens are to be found. Toss the chametz there however, afterwards, after the time it's prohibited, and you found it, in places don't leave it there, but eradicate it. So explicitly, we're toss it to a place which is hefker. Like our case, we're talking about in your chotzer. This is the primary dichotomy in the halacha. The brackets here, why in Dav Ches, there's more asked from Rava, and maybe it's about a case of Badei Chometz over there. Low cash, it's not difficult. The Chometz here also means Chometz. A, because the check there is Chometz. Or Laner, that's in the entire canon. Okay, but Kochmar, the Savik Chometz, are definitely talking about a Savik Chometz, not just Badei Chometz. Chometz, you see, Gashom Labach, any complaint that the Magen Avraham had in the Bach, you check out, it looks like the Bach. Vagraz about Tanya Sif Kavches Kosen the Kfi Dibra Magen Avraham, and here's like the Haikak Dibra Bach, Kabach Vataz Viduk. Okay, all that is not so relevant to us here. Vav Zayin, sorry. Chaim Berefes Veluls in a corral or a coop, as explained. And all the stuff is chametz, it's only doubtful chametz. Avok Shaya Vade chametz, but it's definitely chametz. I feel if you knew about many days before. Anytime it's in your jurisdiction, we don't rely on the consumption of the animals or of the birds. You have to go out and get a check and eradicate. It says it's possible that's only within the past 30 days before Chametz, before Pesach. Let's go by the Chametz. In fact, he brings an opinion of the Makor Chaim, which is extreme. So I go by the Chametz. So the Chametz was there on the eve of the 14th after the Zman B'dika. Arukh HaShulchan seems to hold that anytime you do this Vada Chametz there, perhaps not more than 3 days, but anytime within a reasonable amount of time, that requires you to check. Okay? Says Arukh HaShulchan further. Study on Chotzer, the sides of the yard, I feel with Safik Chametz B'dika. Even if it's a doubt if there's Chametz, so you have to check them out. Only in the middle of the Chotzer, where the ravens are prevalent, and it's a particular stuff, you don't have to check it out in the case of Safik. I've learned the Chotzer, but not the sides of the Chotzer. But Slano learn how to climb the Chotzer. Our minute is not to check it all in the Chotzer. We don't eat in the Chotzer. We don't make that many picnics. For them by us, the dogs and the pigs, they what's the word for it? Not snout. Root around. They root around in the holes and they eat. We can sweep out our yards. Besides that, by us, most of the years through Pesach, it's still in the middle of the winter. There's no chametz out in the yards in the winter. Nobody eats in the yard. Even you might eat during the summer and the winter. You don't eat because it's too cold to eat out there. The Shtabur though says that you do have to check the chotzer. So it's a big machlekas. Shulchan says you don't check the chotzer. The Shtabur says you have to check the chotzer. I would assume Safik Rabban L'Kula. Ches, Chosh ben Yehudi Chavero, if you have a hole in the wall between a Jew and another Jew, Zebadek HaMokom Mashiach Yodom Agas, each Jew checks to as far as his hand can stretch into the wall. Zebadek HaMokom Mashiach Agas, the other one is likewise. Vasharim is about to believe with that, and anything which is in the middle, you notify in your heart, that suffices. Avo Bittul talk, but you have to notify. The Shem is Gagu Shemar Chometz, made little Chometz rolled into that area which is between the two. Between you and a non-Jew, you don't have to check it all. The non-Jew might get very suspicious that this guy's doing some sort of magical, break-in by him. If you it's going to come to danger, therefore something to do bittul. Maybe you'll say, okay, but you're shleach mitzvah, you're checking for the purpose of the mitzvah of dikas chametz, it shouldn't be hurt. Second shani, where it's getting hurt is prevalent, so then with a non-Jew might be suspicious of you, then we don't rely on shluchei mitzvah. We don't rely on miracles. Nevertheless, if there's definite chametz in the whole war between you and your non-Jew, you have to move it during the day. And today, says I think you have to check regardless. But in our day and age, the non-Jew is not going to say that the Jews need voodoo. They're not going to know he's following his religious obligations. And Mishabur suggests that you should check the next day during the day, so then the non-Jew won't come to suspect you. Test. A wall in which you use chametz in the holes. Nothing has to go on the wall, collapsing came a pile of stones. I feel even it's not 3 tvachim high. The dog can root under the stones. Underneath it, because there's a danger of coming across a scorpion. That's in their warm countries. By us, there's no such danger. Ain't no scorpions up here in Russia. Belarus. And a place where there are snakes, now scorpions can't get the dog is something to check. Go figure. There's not the same danger by a snake as there is by a scorpion. That which concerns the shluchei mitzvah in these even though shluchei mitzvah not normally harmed. And it's not comparable to the previous lach where it said that its harm might often befall. Zel ba'adam v'lo ba'akron. That's why the other is the other sakona is another person, not where it's a scorpion. The akron v'lomika shchika says they go with a scorpion. It's not called that the damage is prevalent. And the makar chashin Hashem mikvar of the lo macha b'mokom zeh. But we're afraid here. An interesting thing. Maybe it's a place where you're like this loose stuff. Maybe you lost a needle in this haystack, so to speak. And because after you're checking your chametz, it's no longer involved with the mitzvah. You're going to have to look for a needle. Then the scorpion will bite you. For you avoid this, you're going to come to danger. In terms of we're not sure if there's chametz there. If there's no chametz there, you may not look of there's the 3 tvachim of a pile of stones above it. You have to use shovel and pick in order to get out. So he's not going to come to a danger. There's 3 tvachim of dirt or of stones on top. It's enough to nullify the chametz hard. That suffices. So have you come before that as if it's eradicated? Those who say that even when you're in doubt whether it's chametz or not, you have to eradicate it. Just you don't lose the light of a candle. Of a dika, bediktuk, you don't have to be so precise in your checking. Just check by the light of day as much as you can. And that's the Bach. The Shonor, however, Paskin like opinion, they don't have to check altogether. But anyway, if you require a bedika, has to unite by the light of a candle. Even though, of course, let's be with a shovel or a pick. You're not allowed to, you're not required to check a pile of stones, but other than by your visual sighting, not by putting your hand inside. Okay? So visually you have to do. Putting your hand, which is dangerous, that you don't have to do. You violate by Ra if the avalanche fell on the chametz and you're not mavad the chametz. Yeah, if there aren't 3 tvachim of dirt or for stones on it, obviously you're over. But with the 3 tvachim of dirt or stones, so some people say you're not over by Ra by Matzah because it's eradicated. Some say the since you can move it with a shovel or a pick, it's not like it's eradicated. Everybody right, do it by Ra. If you were in Mavad after the Zman Isser, does any Levatel, when you can no longer be Levatel, you have to remove the avalanche and eradicate the chametz. It's obvious that a large avalanche flows by. There's no way you can remove it. You don't violate Vaira. It's not considered your chametz. They'll say that therefore, if you find after Pesach under this great avalanche, chametz you're allowed to eat it. Arukh HaShulchan is not sure about that. But the Mishnah is matzir even to eat it after Pesach. Because Havek Luz Rabban, the Kula like the Mishnah in this case. Yurav, Martev Shel Yain, a wine cellar. She was talking about Letzach, which you use to retrieve wine for the purpose of a meal. If it needs to remove Shua Shlachavil Zuet Zu Hachmal Kulo, and there are rows of barrels, one next to the other, until the entire thing fell out. V'chozrin. So that's the one row, the bottom row. And they make another row on top of that. You do it again until you reach the ceiling. And so you don't go to you only check the very top row and one underneath it. Meaning a row on the entire width of the cellar. But not the entire area of the cellar. But rather the top level, which is sees, so to speak, the ceiling, and also the opening. And afterwards the one below it. Meaning if you come to the opening of the room, the topmost row and the one underneath it. With these, you normally those normally go to a place in order to retrieve wine for your meal. V'yesh mechashash chametz, there's a suspicion of chametz in those. V'lo yoser. If you look at the Ishbitz from the Meir Shilach, the Chelak Aleph, and the Likutim from Parshas Pesachim, there's a very nice shot al Pi Drush by Shura Elyoina and Shura Chitzayna, how it relates to Aseres Hadibros. Hayin Sham, or I just recorded a shir on that 2 days ago, I think, which you can also get from, or maybe yesterday, which you can also get from the YouTube or the blog. Okay, weiter. Yud Beis, Batei Nes is Batei Midrashes. Shuls and Batei Medrash. It's clear that children bring chametz in there the entire year. The place where chametz is brought. And the shamish, the beadle, B-E-A-D-E-L-L-E, B-A-D-L-E, the person in charge of the shul, has to check kedin, bro appropriately, or la basa, or bracha, the 9:14, with a bracha. You look on Machboin, check all our base clothes, both standards. All the boxes and all the standards. You love about that Bible and check at night. You leave dog make a check your day by the light of the sun. Because shuls have lots of windows. It's like the open building which has lots of light in it. Lanios Daiti, he says, according to Surot, the one thing is the chain, require not to violate by Roeh, ain't to bracha because based against the base of Medrash. You don't need a bracha according to this for the checking the shul, checking the base of Medrash. Shari ain't lamp by them. You don't have a specific owner. Mishmishi Avor by Roeh, who's going to violate by Roeh by Matzeh. Is like a by Shefker. In this respect, it's like a house of which is Hefker. Family that gives by Shamash by Roeh. I can't say the treasure or the beetle will be over by Roeh. I don't want to acquire the prohibition here. Who shall have chametz nimtza shall have kergomer. The chametz is round, there becomes complete and total hefker. Chazay's pshita going up in the symbol shall low al kayetzim zeh haitzim chacham medika. This is not the primary ten chacham when they instant medika. Lachein nirali the shamash leivorech. Not like I said before. The shamash doesn't make a bracha. There's not the real ikar bedika in the shul. Or Mishmur argues. He says the shamash can't make a bracha. On the flip side, everybody agree that shamash can't be a vakta because being a vakta chametz doesn't belong to him. You give a custard to two of us who are going to see it out. I'm a somebody who's sleeping out of his room on the 20th day of Nisan. Leave the chametz he's doing has wanted to kill two birds with one stone. Also to check the chametz thereby. Eradicate it. When there's at least some chametz, it's careful not to put any more chametz in there. Nice try, no cigar. You gotta check again 9 and 14th. That's what previously. Even though you're ready to check your room 10 times before base, make sure there's no chametz in there. And become a conchem because b'tika b'layl she will our boss whenever it's still required to the consequence of checking the night of the 14th. Because it's sort of b'layl do ketev, and they wrote that now you have to check very well below. Let's say the is dika, and not just be yotze perfunctorily. Because by sweeping, you don't eliminate what's in the nooks and crannies. So we have to check down in the holes, the nooks, and the crannies. That's how relevant us, where we check very well before Pesach. Issues from those say if you check the 13th, you check the eve of the 13th, as opposed to the day of the 13th, ain't certainly don't go below without. You don't have to check in the Yudalit. To be high and astonished, the Kim Vlas continue Chachamim. You didn't do what Chachamim was sacking. But it ain't in boil. That's not effective. You have to check on the night of the 14th. Which is one of those passing the other ways. Says like the Yesh Mishomer, and he wants to say, says someone wants to be macham on himself, you go back and check. Go back and check. But you certainly not make a bracha. But Arukh HaShulchan says, no, you got to do it on the 14th. You give him a bracha, but if you made a check on 30 days with a bracha, which is carved to a bracha of Atala, honestly. But if you did, you can't make a bracha of Allah, so a mitzvah, you're not doing mitzvah properly. Says the brackets like Cain Kavanas L'chok Yaakov. That's what L'chok Yaakov meant to say here. You doubt. Anybody has to clean the rooms before they check. We shouldn't aim talking off a blow keyboard. They're not checked well unless they're cleaned. Times they're ugly because chametz notos. That's why people use feathers. In order to sweep. Let's say rochim regarded by us, which we rinse and scrub. Other people that's better than sweeping as they had in the old days. If you have garments which have pockets or gloves, which sometimes put chametz, it's going to take a while. You have to be checked that night. We'll mark less the next day. And you have to eradicate whatever chametz is in there appropriately.